Oh my gosh, baked potatoes first off.
Oh.
No,
We'll
no.
be hanging around.
She's not coming?
No, because they were just.
Is there room on the committee?
I know.
So they would approve it at the health department, so they just switched it.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
No food. Well, never mind. I made all this up so I could save for food. Never mind.
The temperature that you have to use.
Put warm butter on it, it's all that matters. Thank you. Yes. Of course. Of course. And then
I gave you one.
Oh, did you?
I did. Thank you.
well, plus these three.
So, so the health department had to change things, like since you have to keep the ribeyes, I don't know, at certain temperatures, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, he was just here at the last meeting, so he had to switch some other stuff, so we just said,
360.
yeah, we just said he didn't have to come again, so he was just here with the potatoes and the.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I was gonna get dinner tonight.
You know,
Yeah.
but you feel bad, you know what I mean? They keep bringing stuff,
Oh.
it's just to adjust their menu a little bit.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Dizzy.
I did hear from Jason, by the way. Yeah. And then, then I emailed him and gave him everything. I will reconfirm this.
It's still like that.
Yeah. I'll try to read it.
I mean, anytime you're talking, really, when it's.
Here.
Yeah.
Which lecture?
Well, you're gonna have to stay out.
She's gonna tell you all about it.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are more attractive.
You know what, Michael, you do well because the whole meeting I could hear him. It's just everyone else that couldn't.
Okay. The tech guy was in here. I asked about the hotel. He said, no, that wouldn't work. It would take too much time to take it off, put it on somebody else.
That's our problem, not his.
Well, then you go talk to him. Anyway, we're gonna tell the people they gotta carry, they gotta.
Yeah, I know.
And then we have to speak right into
It's
this.
not up to him to tell us.
Okay, you go.
Okay, so, 5C will be absent, Connie?
You're ready?
Uh-oh.
5C,
You're ready?
5C and
Easy.
5L.
Easy.
5C and 5L.
Yes.
5C and 5L?
Okay.
Yeah,
Is everybody supposed to come today?
everyone else, yes.
I mean, on the board?
I
Anybody
believe so.
absent?
Oh, sure.
5C and 5L. No, just trying
Did you have a copy, Mike, or no?
I do now.
Oh, okay.
I took that
Okay, will you pass that down to Joel?
for Joy.
Like this, that would be nice.
I have them here for her, I don't know,
Did
sometimes
they
she
change
changes
these
them.
out? Are these different than?
No, but we gotta keep them close to us, we need to speak to him.
Have you turn it on every time, right?
Huh?
You have to turn it on every time?
Oh, yes.
I do not, no. That's what that's what I'm for now.
He said as soon as the person goes here to share whatever product is, they totally lose them in every way.
So
But then they need to get a lavender one.
Well, that's, he said no, but.
Oh, the garlic grater. You can't have it both ways, you know?
Oh, here she goes.
Hello.
How do you do here, my dear? So we should keep these he said as long as your hands are touching, you should be able to leave. And then the vendors have to leave the folder for when they come.
Or they get a lavender one.
Joy may not be here.
Okay.
She is,
Who's not?
Joy, she may not be here.
She okay?
Yeah, she sent me an email that she's not feeling good.
Oh, well, that's
Hopefully she
going
can
on.
get this really
Oh, gosh.
horrible.
everybody could turn these off because our new zillion-dollar TV recording system doesn't like them. So don't do what you do on the airplane. Turn these all the way off. Okay, it says on the air, so we're on the air. Good afternoon to all of our guests from the public. My name is Mike Siskind. I'm the chairman of the VillageFest board. Thank you for coming out on a not-so-great day, right? The city's so crowded with all these people going to all those movies. This is the VillageFest board meeting of January 9th, 2018, and I'm calling it to order and requesting a roll call.
Chair Ziskin,
I'm here.
Vice Chair Watson,
Here.
Board Member Meredith is currently absent, Board Member King is currently absent, Board Member Manley,
Here.
Board Member Tina Luis,
Present.
and Board Member Montanti is here. We have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum. And the first thing, and for us the most important thing, is our public comments. If anybody in the audience has anything to talk to us about or yell at us about or anything related to our street fair, I would welcome them to come up at this time and talk to us. Do you have something, Garlic Man?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you.
Pull the mic up a little bit so
Can you?
it's our new
Can you hear me now?
sound system. Isn't it great?
Perfect.
Okay, so of course I'm going to talk to you again in a few minutes, but there's something I just wanted to bring up, and I know it's regarding the other garlic people that are here, and to my knowledge, every time I've driven by, they're not here. They have some other guy, and I know I reviewed the tapes. You know, I looked at all the CDs and DVDs just to make sure I knew what I was talking about. It was a big deal for me at the time when I was accepted. Hey, you got to be here. You know, you can't just have your mom here or anybody else. So, you know, in a way, I'm kind of glad that was the rule. You know, I even tried to get a storefront so I could have somebody else work for me, or I could have other products, and that wasn't the spirit of whatever the thing I was looking at, the buy rules. So that didn't happen. But now it's these guys are allowed to have an agent or somebody that works for them or somebody that's buying the plates from them and do that. I'm glad that you guys had that rule, because if it wasn't there, I probably would have had my mom there. She's a great person and she's a great seller. But, you know, me being here the last almost 5 years now, it kind of helped me be more connected. And, you know, you'll see I have 2 new products that I want to bring to the market. And hopefully you guys are as excited about them as me. But I just think, because I do a lot of my business in Arizona, that if everybody, we should all be playing by the same rules. I'm not asking for you guys to tell people how to run their business. I just thought that it might be a big deal. It was a big deal when I was applied or accepted. And I just think that it's a big deal to have people that actually make their stuff here and not have other people sell it from.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your
Yes,
public comment.
thanks.
We do not respond to public comments. We will take that back to staff and discuss it at a later time. Thank you again. Is there anybody else who wants to? Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is George. And well, I had the honor about 9 months ago to be accepted to be a vendor in the VillageFest. But I had some bittersweet experience, and I would like to share it with you. Of course, I have no intention to insult anybody, especially Jasmine and Faith. I love you both, but it's important for me, and I would like to bring it up the way it is and say it the way it is. So I would like you to hear me. As a self-employed entrepreneur, it's my job to make my time at the market as lucrative as possible, which includes securing a booth location and a high foot traffic area. When I first started VillageFest, I was placed in the north end of the market. This area is smoky from food vendors and not really crowded like the south area. A while later, I asked Miss Faith to move me south near Starbucks, but she said there was no availability. She offered me to move a couple spaces, so I said it's not a big difference, and I'd rather wait until there is availability near the higher traffic area. Faith said I'd need to wait until the low season when many vendors don't show up, then she could try to find something better, to which I agreed. In July, she moved me to the booth number 139 North, which was slightly better because there was a space where I could unload my car without blocking the road. The following month, I called Faith to express my concern that I was going in vacation, but I didn't want to lose the progress I had made on moving south in the market, and even offered to pay the booth while away to keep my standing for a good space. She said no problem, and she would try to keep the space. October 4th, the day before I returned from vacation, I received a voicemail from Faith that my booth was moved one number down, which is not the end of the world, but I lost the parking. I called her back on October 5th on my way to the market to ask why this happened, and unfortunately, Faith took it kind of personally a little bit and was met with aggravation, and unfortunately, it was a little bit annoying. She threatened that if I want, I could come back to the old space where I was before. Until this point, I accepted everything as normal practices until that same day on October 5th, while I was setting up my booth. Miss Faith and Jasmine drove by, and I saw them pointing at my booth. 10 minutes later, they both walked directly to me, and Jasmine started kind of harassing me, enforcing every details of the rules and regulations, which I respect. But rules and regulations are made for everyone, not to enforce at whim on a single individual. I felt I was singled out, and I'm not liked at this market. I was clear when I looked over 20 booths surrounding me, and no one had their permit visible. Furthermore, some vendors were asking me why Jasmine was at my booth, and they were worried she would reprimand them because they didn't have their permit at all. I called Faith the following day, inquiring about the incident, and she said it was a routine that she usually does. But obviously, this routine happened only one time in the 9 months that I was in the market. Following my inquiry, this new vendor that he took my place, which was Mike Bike, which is he's a very nice guy, actually. He was my neighbor for 1 month, but he got moved a month after to the high traffic area, which I was in the same place. My very good friend, Neil Birkinshaw, he applied way after me, and he got to the market, and he was put in a good space in front of Starbucks. Urban Geometric, which they applied with me the same day, and they are my friends. I'm just bringing up my friends. There is others. And they were put in a better area than I am. Josh and Matt Wilcox, which they are good friends of Faith, and they are very good friends of mine. They can change booth every week if they want. They can take the list of which booth is
Do you
empty.
have a hard copy of your complaint? Our limit is 3 minutes.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
I'm almost done.
Okay, sure.
I've given it full effort, remaining loyal to the market, driving from Los Angeles, working the entire summer low season, 120 degrees heat, in hopes I would move to the ladder and my turn would eventually come. This day never came, and the lack of equality is undeniable. There are laws against discrimination, protecting the equality of all. I don't know if it's because I'm Lebanese, because I'm dark, because I have an accent, but my experience just tells me that there was a discrimination in the market. It's unfortunate that 2018 cases like this happen, especially from two employees and representing the city of Palm Springs. I have to say goodbye. I'm not going to do the market anymore. I'm not going to subject myself to a type of discrimination like this. Good luck in your market, and thank you for everything.
Thank you for coming forward. Can
Thank
we
you.
get a copy of that? Can you drop it off with Jasmine and Faith? Right. Okay, and thank you for taking the time to share that with us. Appreciate that. Thank you. Any more public comments? That's good. That's more public comments than we have had in 5 years.
Yeah.
So, anybody else want to yell at us? We're in a good mood today. It's the beginning of the year. Okay, thank you. Board comments. I would like to start off, and then we're in a new year, and I just wanted to remind our fellow board members that we are doing the city's work. We're all volunteers. We don't get paid to be here. and part of what I'm going to talk about is my fault. But I have found over the last 3 or 4 meetings, after looking back at the tapes, that we have been less than accommodating or polite to some of our vendors. And I raise it as an issue because it affects all of us, okay? As far as ethics are concerned, it's important that all of you look at the ethics requirements, that communications about this board go through this board and through that staff. We've had incidents of people going around me, around others on the board, and around staff, and then bringing findings to this board. That is not how we are going to work in 2018. I will not allow it. As far as being polite is concerned, there was one vendor that I would like, if the board agrees, to invite back and apologize for the way he was treated and spoken to. Was it 2 meetings ago or 3 meetings? What's Adrian, I think is his name. Absent that, we need to be very careful about some of our categories which don't have a lot of competition. What I'm really talking about are the oils and the hemp and all those things. I think it would be appropriate if this board requested anybody who has an interest or a business related to that category to either recuse themselves or just, they can stay here if they want, not vote on those items, because the perception is that we're trying to stifle competition. I'm sure that's not the case, but that's what the perception is. So I'm getting off my soapbox.
Happy New Year, and it's an honor to be part of this board. Thank you for your comments, because I know we all want to do the right thing.
Thank you, Mike, and Happy New Year. Yeah, this has been an issue, and it's come back to many of us through the public on our actions that I think we have to rein in a little bit. I think we have to be very careful how we talk to vendors, because without the vendors coming to the street fair, we wouldn't have a street fair. So I agree with you.
True. Happy New Year. And I, too, just proud to be a member. I've been here, I think, 4 years, and I was sorry about the last gentleman, but things happen. And that's it for me.
Happy New Year. And I feel the same, although I do feel that there are people that have topics that they're familiar with, years of experience, and if you have experience in certain issues, they should be addressed, proper paperwork brought forward, and then an evaluation from there.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to make a motion. I'm going to make 2 motions. Let me make the first motion first. I don't want to combine them. That we re-invite or invite that particular vendor that I mentioned back to finish his presentation and his evaluation. It was my understanding that there were certain things that he had in his, or was missing, and he was invited to bring those back to us. I don't see him on the agenda. So that's my motion. Do I have a second?
I'll make a second. I'll make a second.
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
No? No?
I do. I
Okay.
feel that there was paperwork provided last week that needs to be addressed and looked at.
Any paperwork that is from the vendor, I don't have it officially from them. We're here to evaluate vendors strictly on their products. I don't care what they do outside of here. I don't care if they're on parole. I don't care what kind of agreements or lawsuits or anything else they're involved in. We are here to evaluate the vendor and the product. We are not a court of law. Any other comments? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Can staff be kind enough to email or however you contact him to invite him to come back? Okay. The other comment I had, and I'm sorry Joy's not here, but we'll fill her in, is I strongly believe that we need to be very transparent in how we evaluate these vendors, especially in the area of oils, which both Joy and Julie are experts on. However, they also have businesses that sell those same products. I'm going to respectfully request that we ask them to recuse themselves from voting on products with which they have a monetary interest.
So would their involvement in conversation still be?
I would welcome it.
Okay.
They are experts in it. That's just my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, discussion? No discussion? Yes.
Basically, it's not the same type of product. It's a lesser product, and sanitation situations and testing situations are very vital in these products that come out. There's been state law basically in the last week since New Year's Day that corresponds that everyone should take a look at the state law that considers any of these products.
Right. The problem I think that we're running into, and it's causing a lot of friction, which I don't like, is the city is not evaluating these like they're evaluating other types of products. So we're kind of flying blind.
Right.
And unless and until the city says we're going to inspect or we're going to approve or disapprove, I don't think it's up to us to play cop.
Right. So at this point, we are just going to go by what the city attorney has provided us as what is considered.
I don't know what else we can do.
I mean, at this point, I think that's where we're at until we get any further direction from the city attorney's office.
Okay. So what was the motion again?
Well, it's really kind of a, because it's not actually on the agenda.
No, it's not.
So it's not a formal motion.
No, it's not.
But it definitely can be just a survey of where the board stands.
Okay. So does anybody else have any comments on all that?
I think the city attorney reevaluated some issues because the state law changed January 1st.
Okay, well,
I will follow up with an email to him.
okay, that'd be
tomorrow
great.
morning.
That'd be great, because we have to get our guidance
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
him, and this is so new. So I apologize to ruffle any feathers, but I just wanted to get it out there so
I'll
we
send
can
him an
move on.
email.
Okay.
I will follow up tomorrow morning with the
All
city
right.
attorney.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Any other comments? Okay. Okay, do we have any correspondence?
We have,
It says none, but.
we have none.
Okay. Okay, the next item is the consent calendar, and these are items that we can vote on with one motion. And hearing any issues with either of those, can somebody make a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I can. I
You can?
I can approve the consent
Okay.
consent calendar for January 9th.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed, it carries, consent calendar is approved. Legislative actions, this is the fun part of our meeting because we get to meet all of you and hear everything that you have to offer. These are the vendor applications for review, and the first one is 360 North.
No, they're not here.
They're not, you didn't tell me about that one. Is 360 here?
Jasmine, 360.
360 is not here. We did not ask them to return back. They
Okay.
just wanted to add items. Obviously, you know that this particular merchant downtown has been before you multiple times. And because they've come before you and you do know that they have high-quality product, we told them that it wasn't required. They are just kind of adjusting their menu as they are coming to VillageFest and learning what works and
Got
what
that.
doesn't work.
Thank you.
So they wanted to add 2 new products to their booth, which is the beef stroganoff and baked potatoes.
Sounds good to me. Too bad they're not here. I would love a sample. Let the record show that Board Member Ron King is now present. Okay. 5B. What is that?
Oh, can we
TO.
vote on
which?
one?
Oh, yeah.
5A?
Do we need
We
to
do
approve
need a
it?
formal vote,
Oh, okay,
please.
okay, yeah. Any discussion of that?
No, their
What-
food is great.
Okay, I move that we approve their additions. Second,
I'll second them.
discussion.
No, their food is good.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
good discussion. You're going to abstain. Okay, Ron's going to abstain.
Pass this down to him.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Okay. T.O. and Bag, Linda Campbell, Arts and Crafts, clutch purses. Is that you? What you got? Come and talk to us. Straighten us out. Tie-in bags.
For some reason, it said my mother's name instead of my name. I don't know why.
I don't know. Have
So
I met
it's-
your mother?
It's
Yeah, hold
No,
it in your
hold
hand,
that.
Donna.
Take that with you because
Hold
it's,
it in your hand.
Hold it in
Hand.
your hand.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so tie-in bag
Thank you.
and Dion Campbell. What is it? It said Linda Campbell?
Is that what I said? That's what's here.
Linda Campbell.
I know. Stranger things have happened in this room, so.
It says
Ronald or Linda
Oh,
Campbell,
that's the emergency contact?
contact person.
We'll fix it. Keep going.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's all right.
We'll fix it.
I've been before you all before. I don't even know, like sometimes last year.
yeah.
Doesn't seem like
and
it's
then
on,
another
does it?
time, but I never was able to really get through to sitting at the,
Is that on?
Make sure it's on, we just can't hear you.
it's red.
No.
It needs to be green.
You have to push it while I talk.
No.
No.
You should just be able to push it and hold it. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, this is wonderful.
I'm about to sing a song. I'm kidding. Anyway, so I revamped some of the things that I did, and I really plan on following through with participating in the street fair now. I had a medical condition last year that kind of threw me off track, but now I'm good. So okay, so I will start out with some makeup bags, and I'm making these little pom poms to go with it too, and all
Can you
made by
pass it
hand.
this way?
Yes, I made it all by hand. I cut the patterns and make the patterns
Cute.
myself. So there's that one. So that's
That
a
is
makeup
cute.
bag. I kind of brought one of each, or maybe a little bit more than one of each. This is a clutch purse that I make too. So I'm adding some different things. And then I had these before, so I brought these, but I'm not really making these so much anymore. And so that's another makeup bag. And I have ties, which I want to kind of put up something as like I want to do more custom ties for weddings and that kind of thing. More so than making them like this anymore, but it's okay. I'm still going to put them out until they're gone. So, you're my ties? Yeah. And my bow ties, too. So that's the self-tying one, and that's the pre-tied one. And then I make tote bags, too. And I didn't know if each time I have to come before the panel because I wanted to make something special for, like, Valentine's Day, like some, like, handmade roses. I don't know if I have to show that or exactly how to do that, but so that's pretty much everything.
Wow, this is beautiful.
Thank you.
They're just gorgeous. I like your logo.
Thank you. So I'm going to do different sizes and different mess around with
Can I
them
see
a
the
little bit.
tiles? Very nice.
Thank you.
That's super.
Thank
Can
you.
I ask how you do the lettering?
Yes,
on the-
I went to go print out the pictures on that because I realized they weren't included in that. I have a Cricut machine, if you've heard of that. You have to use the vinyl paper. So like on Photoshop and Illustrator, I input whatever lettering and whatever design I want. And then also with the machine, you hook the machine into your laptop and you can design on their little space. And I have a picture if you want to see it on my phone, sorry. But I know I shouldn't have my phone on. Okay, but is that okay? Okay, I don't know. Okay, so it'll power up in a second. So the machine, you go in and there's a design space where you can just do your lettering if you want. But I usually do mine on Photoshop and Illustrator. And then you put the paper, you buy, like this is glitter paper. You feed it into the machine and it literally cuts out your lettering.
Oh my
and you
God.
take it to you peel it off and then you take it to the ironing board and you're able to just iron on
right.
whatever. Yeah, so I have that. That I did with the arrows too, was like also an iron-on applique. So, and I want to do more of that. I actually did my labels with that machine, but I need to.
Is that
I want
right?
to, yeah, but I
Oh,
want to.
that's terrific.
I need to order some more machine. It's really, called a Cricut
Yeah.
machine. It's really good.
Okay. Did you have anything else to pass around? Is that it?
That is everything. I just kind of
Okay.
brought mainly one of each
No,
and
that's-
a little
that's
bit more
fine.
than.
That's fine. Does anybody have any questions for our vendor?
I forget. Where did you go to school?
I went to Cal State Northridge,
Right.
and so I have my bachelor's in fashion design and merchandising. Yeah. Yes.
I
And
I have one question. I don't see your booth there, but I know you have a booth.
you know what's really on my way here? I was thinking, did I forget something? I was thinking when I went to put in the application, because I had done it and I just thought I was on like autopilot, and I did not put a picture of my booth in there. So I can email it or I can drop it by next time or how to do it. But I honestly am working up ideas for it still, so I don't know how to do that. If
Okay,
that's-
we'll readdress that in a second.
And Faith can direct you.
Yeah,
Okay,
Faith can-
that'd be great because I really.
Let's get a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept tie and bag with the exception they have to present a booth standards before they're permitted to on the
To staff.
to staff.
Okay,
I'll
Okay.
second that.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Discussion?
Yeah, she did mention she wanted to bring in things like for Valentine's Day. How would we, should she bring it to staff?
No,
Anything
no,
new
I-
or
I
coming
would like to
before
see
us?
Anything
Okay.
new that comes before us.
So anything new? Even
Yeah,
okay,
We'll,
that's what I was
we'll fit you
curious.
in right away, like,
Okay.
like a good dentist.
Okay.
And I don't think she'd has to be present for that. I think you just brought the samples for us to see, or would you want? Yeah,
Like Valentine's Day, I was thinking about making some handmade roses with the stem, and honestly, that would be the only thing that I'm thinking of at the moment. There's something I'm working on, but it's not ready to go. yet,
It
so.
seems very different from the products that she's presenting
Yeah.
today, so it would be better if she presented them directly to you.
Right.
Okay.
And I promise you, we won't
Because
take a
there
lot
could
of
be
your time.
questions
Okay.
about how it's made and things of that
Yeah.
nature that
Yeah,
staff should
yeah.
not answer.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in that case, I just kind of come back in again. Like I don't do the whole application.
You'll need
No.
to send in photos at least
Just
of you
send in.
making the
Okay.
product.
So I can drop in the photos, and then they'll say, "Oh, come in this day." And that's like
They'll
okay.
schedule
And the
it.
letter, yeah, we'll go over it.
And, oh, okay, okay, sounds good.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
you.
None, it carries.
Thank
Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
now,
it.
just work with Faith on getting the Valentine stuff.
Yes, and then the
and we'll
booth. My
we'll
goodness,
set up
I don't
another
know what to do
meeting
with
for
the booth right now. So okay, thank you, and I'm
And
going to show
as soon
her.
as you comply, then we'll see you on the street.
Yes. Thank you. Do you want to see the? Do you want to see the picture of the machine? Okay.
No.
I'll show you. She didn't.
Who wanted to
She wanted to
see?
see the picture. I thought of the how
Oh.
I make the labels.
The booth.
The-
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
Okay, anyway.
As long as you explained it.
Okay, well, it's
Yeah.
like this. You feed that into the machine. See, it's like a piece of paper.
Oh.
And then, so this is one, sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm going the wrong way. That's my brother. Okay. So that's what came out. So if you see, there's like plastic, if you can see that around it. So
Oh,
that is like
yeah.
ironed on to the
Oh,
bag
my
after it comes
gosh,
out. And that's
sure.
that's the little arrows that were ironed
Wow,
on
it's
too.
a lot of work.
Oh,
so-
yeah.
Okay,
I
thank
love
you.
It's a lot of work, but it's fun. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
Good luck, everybody. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Our next vendor is Shelley and Company, George Latouf. Is George here? Georgia's not here either. Arts and
I would-
crafts?
I would
That's a
just like
rejury.
to- That actually was the person who spoke during public comments, who said that they were no longer going to participate. They were placed on the agenda because we received a complaint from a board member who had seen multiple items in their booth that they had not been approved for. So we placed them on the agenda and asked them to come to this board meeting to
Oh,
represent
yeah.
their products to the board to ensure that everything on their booth was being handmade by the person who was selling it. Unfortunately, that was probably the third complaint that we had received.
Yeah, I know, we've gotten a couple.
So, and obviously, as he told you, there had been multiple times where Faith and I had to
I know.
address situations that were in this booth, products that were not approved by this board to be at VillageFest.
Right, that's unfair to the other vendors.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And as you know, that's this board's main job is to ensure that everything that's being sold at VillageFest is in compliance with our rules and regulations. And unfortunately, multiple times, items in that booth were not. So we do apologize that he felt picked on in any way. That's never our intent. Booth assignments are always extremely difficult. Jewelry is extremely difficult on its own
Yeah,
because we
sure
do
is.
have a lot of it, and we want to make sure that at no point in time do we have jewelry vendors that are too close to one another, and there are obstacles with vendor placement all the time. And we obviously do our very best to ensure that there is a mix of the types of arts that this board approves in each block, and sometimes that doesn't necessarily work with exactly where the vendor wants to be
Wants
at the
to
time
be,
they want to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we do
Okay.
do our very best.
All right.
Well, yeah, we know you do.
Good explanation.
Our
Okay.
success proves it.
Let's move on to 5E, which is Joshua Tree Rock Shop. Marcel, Christina, it's arts and crafts. Staff review.
Both those vendors had very similar information in file of how they mine their stones, so that we don't have one vendor who has no photos and one vendor who has 100
That-
photos.
yeah.
We just want to make sure that they're similar and that this board feels comfortable with how the person is acquiring their stones.
I'm a little confused. Are we doing 5D or 5E?
5E.
5E. I just spoke on 5D.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that was 5.
That was the gentleman that said that.
5E. And then this was also a complaint from a board member who wanted to make sure that the products that were being sold out at
Sure.
VillageFest were in
And 5C,
compliance.
what was 5C then?
No
Was
show.
absent.
No show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where I got.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we're back to you.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, that's okay. But did you receive all the pictures of the mine?
Yeah, we're looking at them.
And also I sent about 2010. I can even go farther that I have file income tax. I have account in the bank as a Brazil rock shop and mining, because I am a miner since 1985.
I know you have a hat and everything. You got
Yeah,
with a light on it. I saw it.
It's a big gun, big bird.
Yeah, that was the issue, I think, that we didn't have the documentation. It's coming back to me.
Yeah, you got everything over there?
We'll see what
Yeah.
they say. Take a look real fast.
So in the paper clip are all the new photos that we have asked
That's the-
for him
This
to
is the
supply.
new stuff.
Yeah, this is the new stuff.
Uh-huh.
Where does it come from again?
Brazil, Minas Gerais.
At Minas Gerais.
Minas Gerais.
I'm saying it wrong.
Minas Gerais.
I know. I've been there. I just don't know how to
Yeah,
say it.
Minas Gerais, because we have a lot of minerals, calls General Mines. That's the name of
Right,
the state, General Mines. If you have any question about the pictures, let me know.
Okay. Well, while she's looking at that, do any of you have questions?
I just have I do have a question, I think, to staff. Is this a question of them making this jewelry or mining this jewelry?
Both.
Both, okay.
Right.
Those pictures, are they recent pictures of you
No.
mining?
Not recent.
Do
They are
we
not.
require
I'm not the type of a guy that I take pictures of myself in a mine because I'm not visiting mine. I'm in a mine since 1985,
Yeah.
so I was not planning to do the VillageFest. I do shows, I do trade shows, and usually I don't go to the mine and I take picture. I'm the first time in the mine. I don't pay attention for that. But I have the pictures, I have banking accounts, I have fire income tax as a Brazilian rock shop and mining everything related to my mining company in Brazil. So
The board has to feel comfortable with what is being presented to you. If you do not feel comfortable with what is being presented to you, that the product is mined by the person and is somehow created by the person, then the board either needs to ask for more information or you need to deny the vendor. But you have to feel comfortable with your decision.
The last time the vendor was here, the last time you were here, we didn't have an issue with whether or not he was creating them, did we? The issue was with the mining, correct?
Well, there were no
Okay.
photos of
That,
the mining process.
Right, yeah.
At all.
Okay, now we have photos of the mining.
okay,
Correct.
and also
Process.
I'd like to put something else.
Yes.
I'm showing the mine because I am a miner, no matter what, since 1985. And I'm the first president of the first Brazilian group of miners since 1988 of the new constitution of Brazil. We were sampled to all over Brazil for the other big miners to come and
See how you do it.
and take all the example from us, how to do all the
How to
process
do
and
it.
everything, environmental regulations and everything. Now, what you request is there, but I see a lot of people on the street that is doing jewelry handmade, and they get the stone from wherever, and they just need to come here and show they are doing handmade extra work in the stones.
Right, and that's why
we
I'm coming
invited here, because I'm saying the mine.
Correct.
But
Right.
what I'm selling here, it's product, it's rough stones, tourmaline and everything that my wife takes them, each one of them, she works to do all the wire wrap and everything. So I'm doing this extra information because I say here that I'm a miner, which I am.
Got it.
But I see a lot of people. It was a fashion jewelry right next to me last Thursday, Chinese company. They were selling manufactured stuff that is being produced in
Right.
China
Let's-
by mass production.
We're aware of the jewelry
Yeah,
issues,
so-
so let's just
I
keep
I-
it
Yes.
I have
focused
one
on you.
question. How often do you go to Brazil now to mine?
I can go 3 times in a month. I can stay 5-6 months without going.
When was
All
the last time you
depends.
visited Brazil?
Uh,
to
4
mine?
months.
4 months ago. And you actually didn't mining it 4 months ago?
Well, I'm not those little miners that you see that they can say they go there and they dig. I have people working for me. I have 18 people. I supply them. I pay them salary. I supply their, I support their family. So if I tell you that I go there and I'm the guy who takes the tools and I do the little mine, I am not. But I'm the miner who owns the mine.
Okay.
I have all the governmental
Okay,
paper.
you answered my question. Thank you.
Yes, I
Okay.
file
Thank
all
you.
the environmental.
Thank you.
That's fine,
Yeah.
that's fine. Any other comments? No comments. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'm going to abstain on this because I did not see the first presentation.
Okay.
oh,
Somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept his jewelry.
and
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
coming back and
you.
explaining all that.
No problem. Thank you. Happy New Year
That,
to you all.
that's a long flight. That is one long flight. Okay.
We'll see you on the street.
Yes.
Okay.
See you guys.
All
Thank
right.
you. Bye-bye. See you, Faith. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, the next one is, we just did him, right?
Yes,
Okay.
classic wine.
Right, Classic Wine Gifts Company. Thayer Haggerty. Hi. This is arts and crafts vendor. She has
Happy
wine
New
glasses,
Year.
cheese
you.
boards, and candles.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. And this is my assistant.
Oh, good. Everybody needs one.
Yes. Thank you. And shall I pass around some samples or?
Yes,
Okay.
take the mic, honey, because you
Alrighty.
need to talk
Yeah.
to us while you're doing that.
Okay. Would you like to see, I don't know if you have, these are brochures.
You can just pass one around.
Yeah. Okay. They're the 3 different products that I'm going to
Oh,
show you.
okay.
They each have their own brochure.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, those are a little dated because I have been retired for 10 years and just starting up again.
Okay.
But to give you an idea, these are recycled, these are wine bottles that we melt. and label, custom label.
I have two.
This happens to be a wedding invitation,
Oh.
and we do a lot of these. We
So
have a
that would be like a special order.
yes.
Yes.
I do at least 60 to 80% special order. Here's another example. Almost everything is custom designed. I have samples of 8 or 10 different labels that we can design, whether it's for a wedding, an engagement, a birthday, or just a anniversary. Here's an example. I'll send these around this way. This is an example of an anniversary gift. Okay. We do. I do not melt the bottles myself. I did for years. I had a pretty good sized company and many employees, and I had a full-time gentleman who melted these for me. It's extremely labor intensive, and if I did it, I wouldn't be able to do anything else. So
Where do you do your melting, my dear?
I have a gentleman who melts them for me.
Oh, okay.
There's another, and but at any rate, I'll just show you a few more. Here's this is the golfer, and then there's for sailors. We've got something for pretty much anyone, and we can do custom things. I won't bore you all with this, but this is PGA. Monterey Country Club just asked me to make up about 40 of these for some event of theirs. So that, I'll show you one more. I just made up this label. Then it says the Haggertys of Palm Desert. And that is my husband and myself. So at any rate, that is basically the wine bottle cheese board. The next product I'd like to show you. These are our wine bottle candles. Everything we do is wine gift related. These are very unusual, and I've never seen them before or since. But these are 100% wax, and I'm hoping to be the supplier, the gentleman who melted these for me. I own the molds, but he just retired, and it's really tough to find anyone to do these. But at any rate, we then customize the label, and they end up in a gift box like that. And here, I'll just show you this one more. These are unscented. They burn for 40, 50 hours, and they burn cleanly. So those are those items. I have one other item that I'm particularly proud of. If you remember, maybe 15, 20 years ago, when wine charms were brand new, they were fun. They were great. Great idea. Nobody wants to get your cold. But suddenly they were everywhere, and I thought, what can we do that's different? And this is truly before anybody even hand-painted wine glasses, which now you see everywhere. You started seeing the hand-painted wine glasses, and I said, I don't want to do that either. I want something totally unique. So I created, these come in sets of 4, and this is custom-made wine glasses in a set of 4 or 8. Each one's different.
Just pass one around because we're running out of time.
Okay, but I just do want you to see, this is a sailboat set, and basically one's in the morning, one's at moonlight, and so forth, so you can recognize your glass. But we customize them. This is San Diego, it could be Lake Michigan, or the Hudson River Valley, whatever they would like, there it is. So these come in sets of 4 or 8, and I can pass this around. And that is it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Questions for the vendor?
Yes, I have one. Do you make the glass, or do you make the labels that go on everything that you
We
have?
make the labels.
So you don't actually make the
No.
that or this, you just make the labels.
Okay.
I
We
have a
make the-
question. Okay, my question is, do you make the labels? Are they originally yours, or are they something else, someone else's? that you
No, they're all
copy?
mine. I created all of them, every single one of them. And I have hundreds of different labels. I lived in the East Coast. In fact, I did New York City. I lived there for 10 years. And I did the street fairs up and down Madison Avenue and Columbus Avenue and Central Park with
So
this
tell me how you
product.
did the San Diego.
Well, I've got a graphic of a sailboat. So if somebody wants San Diego or Ventura, I go to my computer, print it, get up the sailboat, type it in, print it out, spray it with something so it will not run and let the ink dry. Then we cut it in a circle. Then I glue it on. I let it sit for 6 hours, then I epoxy over it. It's very labor intensive. So, I don't make the glass any more than an artist makes the canvas, but that is my canvas. And the same thing's true with this. This is my canvas. I couldn't begin to make these. This would be just
But now
all
the
I do.
labels that are on, like your cheese board, they look familiar. They look like you copied them from a manufacturer, like the one was the wine, that one, you had
Yeah.
the kangaroo.
And yes.
That's a
That's a wine.
That's
an
Yellowtail.
Australian wine.
That is
Yeah,
Yellowtail.
right, it's
And
a
those are
logo.
old. Those are 15 years old. Every label that I used to sell that is well known, that you might recognize, I then had written permission from that company.
But you didn't design them.
No, I didn't design those.
Okay. That's
But
it.
this is the kind, I'm sorry, this is the kind of thing I pretty much only do now. So somebody might want La Quinta on there.
Right,
That's
right.
what I'll do now.
Right.
Yeah. There's only a handful of vineyards where I use their label that they want me to, and that's fine.
This is-
Are
It's
any
good
of these
promotion.
postcards?
Say again?
Are any of these cut out postcards that you might use for this?
No, but I could, and they say, but I won't do it for, I won't do one, or I won't do it for a set of 4. But if somebody wanted 150 for their company, and they had an old postcard, and they owned the rights and so forth, absolutely, we can do anything. I've done many, many weddings where I've done 60 wine glasses with just the wedding invitation. So a lot of fun stuff that can be done.
That's a darling idea. How about the cheese spreaders?
The cheese spreaders, of course, I don't make those either, but they come with each cheese board, and they have a choice of either one of 3: a grape motif, a cork, a wine cork motif, or a sailboat water theme. I've got shells.
Okay, that
Okay.
was my question.
Does anybody else have questions?
If I got another question on the candles, you don't make the candles.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion? Did everybody yell at
For
once?
discussion purposes, I'll make a
Yes.
motion not to accept this vendor.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'd rather discuss first.
We'll do a second and discuss.
Second it.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Do you want, okay, you want to start?
I don't think any of the items really hit our 75% rule.
Okay.
That's a
The-
concern of mine, too.
Yeah.
The pressed glass, I can understand, is a canvas, but most of your work is just stock work. But it's something you can go online and do. It's not something you actually was the artist and created it.
But that is,
Um,
okay.
The candle's basically the same thing. The candle is the main function. It's not the label. So you're not making 75% of that particular item.
Okay.
And I think the same way with the glasses. The
Okay.
bottom piece does not make 75% of the.
It's not that they're not really cool, because I
Oh, they're
love
wonderful.
them.
But they're-
wonderful.
It doesn't meet our criteria. They're
Okay.
kind of handmade, and they are labor intensive when you put the is it an epoxy or urethane, whatever you do when you put the things
Yeah.
on the bottom. But if you said to us, well, I designed those labels,
I do design every label, with the
No.
exception of the Yellowtail type. Every label I've shown you, there's Dom Perignon, because I had written permission for them. Every label here,
you
I've
have written permission from them to use their label.
Yes.
Well, then you didn't design that label, you're using their label.
That's right. That's right.
Okay,
But
okay.
but I just want to say that 80%. If you guys don't want me to use Dom Perignon, I won't. Every label I have, I've created, with the exception of a few. And if that's the case and you don't want me to use theirs, I won't. On the other hand, I like to be creative, and I create all sorts of labels all the time. This is the first time I've done anything for Palm Springs, and you might have noticed that.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned, too, when I have to go before the board every time I design a new label.
You wouldn't.
No.
Okay.
We would just have to know that you design or you paint or you take the photograph, as opposed to going online and downloading a stock photo and typing in, the word Palm Springs.
All right.
So
It's a difficult one.
this is a difficult one.
And I hear you, and
I love the
I
product.
respect what you're trying to do. Having walked the street fair, I am surprised because I have to say that every event I've ever done, I am the show. I mean, you can hardly get to my booth, and that's God's truth.
Oh, I
got first of show at the New York Stationery Show, the best out of 350 exhibitors with the wedding board. So I do think my concept is so unique and so different. Nobody's ever seen it. It's not another
fabulous.
jewelry maker or somebody who's painting on yet another canvas bag.
They're painting on the. They're painting.
But I'm creating labels, which I personally
Creating
think
and painting are two
okay,
different things.
okay.
Okay.
I hear you. I'm not going to fight City Hall.
So
as they say.
anyway, we have a motion on the floor. It was seconded. We're discussing. Any more discussion?
No.
Okay, let's do a vote. All in favor of not approving this vendor because the products, although they're gorgeous, are not 75% handmade according to our regulations? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it carries. I would suggest if you would like to come back to us with some handmade designs, we would love to entertain them. And in the meantime, I don't know if you do College of the Desert. They have
In fact, I'm supposed to start there tomorrow.
they have a fabulous show, and I think you'll do very well there. But we would love to have you back if you want to create some original art.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, no. Thank you for coming by.
That was a very arduous application to get it back.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, you guys are really seemingly very particular and good for you. I've never,
try to
and
be.
I've done for 10 years, there's not a show, wholesale or retail, I think in this country I haven't done.
How many
And-
juried shows have you done, though?
How many what?
Juried.
Almost every show I do is juried.
Okay.
But so anyway, but you guys are different. I have to say I am surprised because I don't see that originality as you walk the streets. I'm just going to tell you. I
Right.
said to my husband, if
Give
I'm
it
not
glass
accepted,
to it.
golly, I'd be very surprised because I think mine's so cool. And
It is
And
cool.
it is.
and what
We
you guys
love
got
it.
going there, it's just the same old,
Just a
same old,
rough
same
one.
old. There's nothing new that hasn't been.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay.
Don't forget your glass here, dear.
Yeah, don't forget the glass. Okay. The next vendor, the Fly Desert, Shane Tate, is entertainment. Is Shane here? Shane is not here, so we are not going to be entertained.
Okay.
So there. No food and no entertainment. I'm going to give them a minute to wrap up.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one because I love the product.
Oh, I know it. Beautiful.
Not quite. Almost. 50% handmade.
She doesn't even know what it was.
She doesn't do that. She sends that out.
That's what I mean, so.
Yeah, it's an interesting process. Okay, our next vendor is Jim Guya, Palm Springs. It's Lincoln Moore. Mr. Moore is a commercial vendor.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Talk to us.
Actually, it's Jim Guys.
Jim, I screwed that up, didn't I? It's the spelling.
Yeah.
Jim, guys, I should have known. I should
Jim,
have known.
hold
So-
the mic, Jim, in your
Okay.
hand.
Thank you. Lincoln Moore is my name. I am, and Happy New Year, everybody.
New Year to you.
Yeah.
You too.
I'm the owner of Jim Guys. It is about a 10-year-old franchise concept based in New York. I'm from New York. But I've been a proud owner of a home here in Palm Springs for several years. I have my coach, Jerry, with me. I have my partner in crime and other coach, Gabriel Rodriguez. Sorry.
Whatever his name is.
Right, exactly. We don't have anything to sell. What we are trying to do is expose a new wonderful health and wellness program to the Valley. I own, it's called Jim Guys Palm Springs, but it actually services from Palm Springs to Indio. We'll be in the Women's Desert Show next week. We will be at the Ruth Hardy Park Fitness Expo. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
We were actually at Live Well in Palm Desert last weekend, had some really nice exposure. Again, we do not sell anything. We will come to, we would like to come to the VillageFest to expose the concept to the Palm Springs community. We are a mobile business. We come to the client. We to have an arduous kind of assessment program that we do that really helps us hone in and have a very high touch personal training business. We also do group fitness, as I've shown you. We do corporate fitness, and we are creative. We are customized in our approach to working out, and we are, by all means, very convenient because we come to you. That's really that's the story.
Would
for
you
Gym
do
Guys.
a demonstration on the street?
Yes, we would. We've Jerry and coaches have designed a program that we'll be doing at the Women's Desert Show next week. It's about 20 minutes, but we show you sort of what we stand for and why we help you to hit your fitness goals. It's worth noting that about 70% of the clientele for Gym Guys across the country, by the way, there are about 130 franchises, most notably on the East Coast, Florida, Texas, Midwest. It's just started in California about a year or so ago. It's pretty much infiltrated San Francisco, but we are the first in Southern California. And Scottsdale, Arizona just opened last month also. But we are about 70% female-centric, interestingly enough. We have our fair share of male clientele, but it's about losing weight, toning, getting to a healthy lifestyle. But yes, we would do a demo.
Your brochures are
Okay.
Oh, terrific.
Does anybody have any questions for the vendor?
I think it's fabulous. I think coming to someone is great.
Okay,
I think it's a
Yeah.
great concept. I think you have lots of great groups of people in Palm Springs that would just love something like this.
Great, great.
Check out my Zell Center too.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a great
Thank
idea. Yeah. Okay, any other discussion? Somebody would like to make a motion to approve the vendor?
I make a motion, we approve this vendor.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, good idea.
Good idea. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? It carries. Congratulations.
Thank you
We're
so
glad
much.
you're part of our,
Thank you.
our
See
little
you on the
fair.
street.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll see you. We can't wait.
See you at the gym.
Okay,
On the street.
wonderful.
We have another commercial business. It says Catio King. Is that the right name or is it Patio King?
That is the right name.
Catio,
Okay.
C-A-T-I-O?
This must
C-A-T-I-O.
be Chris.
I am Chris.
Oh,
So
Chris.
tell us what that is. I thought it was in
I
the
do
spelling.
outdoor pet enclosures, primarily for cats and small dogs.
Oh,
I enclose porches. I basically screen in areas so that mostly cats, can have access to the outdoors. People can put their litter boxes outdoors. I build series of shelves and perches for the cats to hang out at. And I moved here from Los Angeles about a year and a half ago. Business was doing quite well out there. I have a much smaller market out here, so I really need to get some exposure. I have done a number of them out here. I built myself one. And like I said, I just need some exposure out here. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the pictures. I did have a picture of my tent that I'm putting up. I have a website, catioking.com, that shows all sorts of pictures of things that I've built over the years. And I'm looking forward for an
what
opportunity.
would you be doing at the Village Fest? Passing out information?
Yes,
And,
yes, and talking with people about what sort of things I can do. I built a small model, a scale-size model of a little enclosure.
Yeah.
And I just, like I said, I need the exposure.
Sure,
I want people to
sure.
come by and see that I exist so I can hand out cards and meet
Would
with
you
people.
be quoting prices and
Not so much, because I find that everyone is different. Because everyone is made. I don't have a kit. People say, what's the price for a catio? I go basically on a daily rate in materials because I don't have a set of plans to go by. I don't have engineering. I have to build it on the fly.
Okay, that's great. As somebody that owns 4 very stupid and toothless cats.
I've got 7.
You got
All
7.
rescue.
I have to have an invisible fence, which
All
costs an arm and
rescue.
a leg. So that's I've seen your website. It's,
Thank you.
It's
I have
fantastic.
too.
Thank you.
So
Because you were going to come before us before, I think.
yeah.
I was, but I wasn't prepared. I got my pop-up made, and
Your website is good, though.
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for the vendor?
I think for also exposure, you might want to introduce yourself to the Palm Springs Animal Shelter.
I have. I've been
Oh.
in there a number of times, and I've handled my cards, and I've tried to get them to put them out there. But they say, we'll have to talk to somebody, and we'll get back to you.
Oh.
And they never do.
Yeah.
And also
I'm
Animal
in contact
Samaritans.
with Animal Samaritans.
Yes.
And
Yeah, all
I
of
want to
them.
work with them to do pet adoptions and
Oh.
all the local shelters. I've got my cards in every veterinarian up and down the thing. I need the exposure.
Yeah, this is.
Because I
this
think
is
we
quite
have a lot of
special.
coyotes out here.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
I will, that we accept this vendor.
Fantastic.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Discussion? Nothing.
Something
I know.
very useful and
Yeah.
helpful.
Very useful. All in
great.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries.
We'll
Thank you.
see you on the street.
Okay. Just what I need. I'm done building. I know. Desert Oasis Chapel. Don Shellup. Hi, Don.
Hey, how you doing?
Fine. What do you got?
Hi,
First of all, let me correct it. It's David Shellup.
I apologize.
So,
I just
yes.
read what they tell me.
I know.
That's dangerous.
That's terrible, but I don't mind the name Donald. That's cool. And on my application, I wanted to correct that I was thinking of going through December 2108. I don't think we want to do this for 90 years. But
Why not?
that was something we'll correct on our application. So, on our goal as a nonprofit, non-denominational church here in the desert is obviously for our outreach and to reach the community. We primarily have catered to the gay and lesbian community as well. That's the bulk of our congregation. But we have members from the straight community and everything. We have a lot of snowbirds that attend our church as well, but we're a non-denominational Christian church. What I intend on handing out at the booth is just our pens and our flyers. And I'll pass those around to you guys. Thank you. Okay, good. Our church is about 15 years old. We meet at Whitefield's Chapel on Vella Road.
Oh, yeah.
We use their facilities there as well. We meet there every Sunday. And what our goal is, again, is to increase outreach for our church to let people from our background know that that is something that it is okay to do, because a lot of us maybe have had some background where we felt like we couldn't do that in our lives. So our goal is really just to invite people to attend either our church meetings or our social events as well. You guys did get a picture, I believe, of what we intend to have the table look like, and this is what we've used at AIDS Walk before. So it's really just going to be a literature table with a tent. We'll probably put some lighting in the evenings.
And will it just be you manning the table, or will you have?
My goal is to have 2 to 3 people from our church. I'm on the leadership team at our church, so I would hope to have throughout the evening 2 to 3 people at the booth dressed in our Desert Oasis Chapel red shirts for some recognition as well. So that's our goal for that. The booth really won't change too much from this as well, just a literature table and some chairs and things. And if you also wanted some more information about our church, we do have a website, and that's listed on here at desertoasischapel.org.
Very good.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept this vendor.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, carries.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
We will see you on the street.
Glad you're down there.
Yes, and if it's cold, I'm going to wear some over the shirt.
Thank you. Our next vendor is Tammy Woods Creations, Robert Roofer Photography. And did I get that name wrong too? I'm batting 1,000 today with wrong.
Did you say Tammy Woods?
No. Yeah, Tammy Woods, Robert Roofer.
It's actually Tammy Wood.
All right, well,
There's
I'll ditch
no
the
S.
That's an easy one. I can fix
And
that.
I'm an artist, so that really matters. No.
Yeah.
Well,
No, call me anything you want.
Just call.
Tammy Wood.
Okay.
And
Robert Roofer, and thank you for getting that right.
Welcome.
Did he get that right, Robert Roofer?
No, actually,
Happy
I
New
Okay,
just
so
Year
we're
to
going to
both
share.
of
Happy
you.
New Year, you guys.
Yeah,
So
same
we're
to
going
you.
to share a booth. We were we. I was here in 2015, I believe. I was here like October, November, December, January, and my partner decided her dream was to open a feed store in Morongo Valley. She's still open and doing really well.
Great.
But it took me a year and a half to find me a reliable fellow artist that I wanted to vend with, so we're here. So we will pass out. We will not be long-winded, no. Although
Hold
we
that
can.
in your hand,
We can't.
though, because
Okay,
you've
I'll hold
got
it in my hand.
yeah.
Sure, I will. All right, now I'm an artist from Joshua Tree, and I make art, and I don't buy any kind of bottles or anything from anybody. I hardly buy anything from the. I'm going to pass this around because you can start looking at it. I just published a book last season, so this is my book, and all the art in there is I made personally. And I couldn't bring it all because some of it's really big and heavy. But I did bring one small piece. And we'll pass this around that way. I make things out of old wood. And you don't want to pass it?
No, we only go clockwise.
You're going to go one way?
It's our ADD.
Things have changed in a year and a half.
Yeah,
Always been
well,
that way. Always been that way.
yeah.
I'm just making a joke.
I know you are.
Gotta laugh with the joke. So what else? That's it. Here's some cards. I've been an artist 8 years. I use recycled stuff. I use metals and all kinds of stuff. You'll see in the book, I make guitars.
You make guitars?
Not working guitars. This is art. So the guitar's out of wood, and then I just put metal on it. I make butterflies. I make crosses. I like words right now, so I make a lot of words. Peace, love, freedom, all that stuff. I'm going to give this to Bob as my stuff's going around. Is that okay?
Yeah,
give it to Bob, and then you can
sure.
ask us questions. Robert.
Thank you. I'm Bob Roofer, and I've been a serious photographer for decades. And I have some 18,000 images in my computer that nobody ever gets to see. So I made the decision to get some out and show it off and see what happens. So we did a show last October and November at a small art fair, and son of a gun, people kind of like the stuff. So this is my primary piece. It's heavy. This is the style I like to work in. These are all my original photographs. I'm particularly fond of the shadow box presentation. But I also do prints matted in a couple of different sizes.
Do you make these frames?
No, no. Those are professional, heavy-duty frames.
This is art museum quality frame.
Yeah, and that's my specialty, art prints. I do primarily wildlife. Thank you. Thank you. Well, like I said, I've got all these images in my computer and nobody gets to see them.
Yeah.
So it's about time I got them out and showed them to folks. And even my limited experience so far, people kind of like it. So once again, wildlife and landscapes. I've photographed in China. I've photographed in the Everglades, most of the national parks in the western United States. And ta-da, that's it. So I'm looking forward to participating with y'all.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh.
Well, there's a lot to see.
There's a lot to see.
Well,
I want to go through every page of it.
does anybody have any questions for the vendor?
Tammy, I have a question.
Yes,
When you were
yes,
here-
Ronald, what is it?
Ron.
Ron King. What can I do for you?
When you were here in 2015, your partner, what was she doing? 'Cause
Her name was Shauna. What was her name? She did cowboy art.
So it's art, okay.
She did
'Cause I
art.
remember that.
Yeah.
I did that.
She made some stuff with wine.
Okay.
I put wine corks and all that.
Yeah.
I remember you. I remember your personality.
You remember me. Thank
And
you,
I
Ronnie.
remember your artwork because I thought it was very creative and very good.
Thank you.
How are you going to, and I noticed you have a banner, it looks like you're going to be umbrella under Joshua Tree.
Well,
Is that your
we are
umbrella?
designing our
Because
banner at the time.
You
At
have
the
two
moment.
applications, so.
I
I'm looking
know
at
we
two
thought we would
applications,
over-
Or one application, or a combined vendor, so I have concerns about that.
If it's one booth, then we need to have one application with one common booth name.
Do you want us to take the application back and combine it?
Or just submit a new one with your combined business name?
Okay.
Because that's what everything will be listed under, your seller's permit, your business license with the city. It'll have to be one business name.
How did we do that last time, Faith?
It was the same.
We did.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Right.
What did you do last?
I know
you
Shauna
did.
had her
Yeah.
business license. I
And
had
then when I
mine.
received it, and I said, oh, there's two, and you said, oh, okay, and I said, we'll just let the board know that you want to do a combined booth.
Yeah,
That's why it's
I didn't
on
realize
the
we had to
agenda
redo
as
it, though.
a-
You really want us to redo it? We thought it was great that you got all the information from each one of us, and can you just put it
Well,
together?
That's fine if you want to have two booths.
What do you think?
If you want to have two booths.
Okay.
It's up to you. You tell us what you
Gotcha.
want to do. We'll
We
accommodate
definitely
you.
just want to have the one, yeah.
Okay, so you want to have one booth, so we need to consolidate.
Okay.
You won't need to come back here.
Right.
We're going
Gotcha.
to see if
We take
we
care of that
can
administrative.
we'll take care of that administrative. It's not as complicated as I'm making it sound.
Very good. Yeah, so I'll just talk to
Okay.
you.
Does
Yeah, I
somebody
didn't
want to
realize
make a
we had
motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept these vendors as one,
As one.
as one name, whatever that name may be.
Right.
Well, our
I'll-
banners, we think
I'll
are just
second.
going to say Josh.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion?
Oh, fabulous.
Both
Fabulous
things are
stuff.
very good, very
All in
different.
favor?
We get half
Aye.
price.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries.
We will
And
see
you'll
you
work, you'll work
two.
with Faith.
You'll
on
work with
getting
Faith to
combined-
combine them.
Combined application. Okay.
Okay, thank you again for coming.
See you on
Thank you,
the
Julie,
street.
Ron, Marilyn, Michael, Joy, Dorothy, Tina.
Somebody take
Faith?
that,
Jasmine, okay.
somebody take that microphone
Thank
away
you,
from
Ms.
me.
Wood.
Thank
I don't
you
know
so
if
much
there's gonna
for,
be
for
any
coming
hullabaloo.
by. This
Hopefully
stuff
not,
is beautiful.
no more hullabaloo.
Okay, you got all this stuff? All right, Governor's Call, Siobhan Devlin, Arts and Crafts. This is jewelry, earrings, necklaces, bracelets. Oh, we have lots of them. You're in good company. Not here.
Is a little up in the air at the
Can you talk into the
You
microphone?
got to take the mic, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, the name's a little up in the air at the moment. My umbrella company is Weeble Creative. I'm licensed in the state of Oregon under that name.
What was the name again? I'm sorry.
Weeble Creative.
Weevil, like boll weevil?
No, weevils like weevils wobble, but they don't fall down. It's
Like
because
horses.
my background is cartooning, and so there was a
Oh,
cartoon
okay, I should know that, right?
for my friend who was pregnant, and she's a therapist, and I was like, Weeble Woman's superhero to the emotionally unstable. But anyway, I have various business entities. The only reason
Speak in the
Governor's
mic.
sorry, the
Yeah,
only reason
perfect.
Governor's Call came into it is because I have a commercial insurance policy under Governor's Call, and I talked to them, and he said, well, if you do anything and you want our coverage, it has to be under Governor's Call. So that's up in the air because I don't understand exactly what you need in terms of having commercial liability coverage. And Governor's Call is reclaimed furniture and upcycled furniture, which is not what I'm doing. So there's some room for discussion there. This is for jewelry. Title Studio is a branch of Weeble Creative. I am working with precious metal clay, which is a reclaimed silver metal. It is particle, in my case, particle metal of silver in an organic binder. When it's fired, it fires to 99% pure silver. My background when I went to art school is sculpture, and so this sort of appeals to my sculptural personage. Anyway, I neglected to add working photos of what the process is, so I did bring in some examples of the process of from mold to finish.
Thank you.
I also brought in some posters because when I looked through the festival a couple weeks ago, I was like, you guys need more color. And I also am an illustrator, so I do have some things that I might add to the game if that's possible. But I brought this because this is cool. This
What
is,
is it?
I work primarily on the Oregon coast, so a lot of the things that I've taken molds from are coastal. seashells and corals and things like that. But since I've been here, fascinated by the cactuses. So this is a dead cactus. So I've done some samples, and that sheet is an example of the process of taking a mold from a dead cactus and turning it into jewelry. And I use a lot of these elements in my display. I try to keep natural, organic trees, things, whatever. So I have to put this down so I can hand you some jewelry. So this is one of the latest things that was taken from that mold.
And you gotta hold the mic, though.
Okay, sorry. So that is taken from the mold of the cactus, the process being mold to clay to firing to finishing in various ways. And I do use a blackening process to, in most cases, make the jewelry have a little more depth. Sometimes I leave it plain silver, and you'll see that in some of the samples.
Yeah, let's see.
You can take things out of the bags. It just might be easier in terms of handling to keep them in the bags. Those are some earrings. One has been treated with black max to give it some more depth. The other one is just the silver metal after it's come out of the oven and finished. Where at? Here. There's a picture in there, but the jewelry I've only done this last Christmas. I did a show, and I didn't really think to take a picture of the booth. I'm used to working under like a 10 by 10 tent with a table. So there should be a picture in there that's just sort of like an old crate with the various, like the sand and the, just the tabletop
I didn't see.
presentation.
Does it have signage on it?
No.
No, I haven't created a sign.
Okay.
It would just, if you have a copy of my business card, it would look like my business card.
Okay.
That would have to be done.
A lot of these have magnetic clips, which is always a challenge. Hang on.
The leather chains you don't make.
No, I buy the leather wholesale, and then I add elements to them, and then the magnetic clasps are part of the things that and so these are various versions of that. Again, that's the precious metal clay. That's just a sterling silver ring, and that's a triple wrap bracelet. The challenge on the triple wraps and some of the bracelets is that there is a need for customization, and so it allows people to contact me if they have a smaller wrist or they have a larger wrist or somebody they have in mind to have something made specifically for their wrist size.
Okay.
There's the jewelry person right
Did you
there.
make the leather? Did you cut the leather out?
No, I don't cut the. Well, I mean, I cut it to size, but I don't cut the leather. I buy it in wholesale straps. Those are recycled. Those are glass. Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Where would you commute from, dear?
Right now,
From
I'm
Los
in Desert
Angeles?
Palm Springs. I'm in Desert Springs.
Desert Hot Springs?
Desert Hot Springs. Thank you.
Oh,
It's
okay.
up there somewhere. It's an RV park.
Over there.
Yeah.
Over there. Yeah.
Over there.
So it's interesting. I'm in a 12-foot 1965 travel trailer.
Oh, my gosh.
And days like this, I'm like, okay, today I'm not working because I have to go outside to use the kiln and things. You know, the
Oh, yeah.
fumes would kill us all.
Wow.
So yeah.
The recycled glass, do you drill the beads or?
No, I buy them wholesale.
Okay, this is a problem.
So technically, tell me how much 75% handmade then? This
I
particular-
would hope so. I mean, a lot of the
Handmade.
things like this on the
Not
the
assembled, but handmade.
well, okay, so it depends on the piece. With the earrings, I'd say that's 90% handmade. With some of the straps things, I would say it's somewhere in 50 to 60%, depending on what element I've added to it. And it's sort of a continuum, because some of the things that I've bought that are just like spacer beads, right now I'm like, well, that's interesting, but I can make that better. But I have to learn part of the process of like, what does this do, and then how can I recreate it, and then I can say, well, that's sterling silver. Right now, that's not sterling silver.
No.
This isn't either.
No, but this
The
is.
leather.
this is-
Yeah, she cuts it to size.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the vendor? Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the vendor.
I'll second that motion. Discussion?
Yes. Great artwork.
Okay, thank you.
Especially the silver.
Thank
I do
you.
have a problem with the bracelets that are not, they don't meet the 75%.
Right,
You even
no, I
thought
under-
they said they're like 50, 65, they need to be at least 75%. So I would accept all the jewelry that is the silver jewelry. I would not accept any of the bracelets or
With the glass
recycled
balls
glass,
and
Yeah.
anything like that.
And this,
That's the recycled glass.
right.
That she buys.
Now, the bracelet that you have, it's,
Well,
it has your silver work. See,
That-
I then,
that's
because
worked.
you're cutting the strip and
Yeah.
putting, that would work for me at 75%.
Okay.
Because you
of
got
that.
your original silver work on that.
Right.
Where the recycled glass, you just bought recycled glass. And it's great work. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
wonderful,
Gorgeous.
but it doesn't fit, again, our criteria.
Sure.
And I really, this is, like a second vendor we've talked to today about how important our criteria is on handmade arts and crafts. It's got to be at least 75%. And I thank you for your honesty for saying, like, this one was maybe at 60%. You're going to learn how to do it, bring it back, and then we'll accept that too.
Okay.
Type of thing.
Right, so,
How about if she added like some of those bars that
Yeah,
she,
if you added some of your silver work
Some of the
to
silver
that,
to it, then
I
you-
would
you know,
say
your
yes.
silver to
To
this,
add
then
in,
it could
Even if they were just
become.
like little silver spacers or something,
Right.
then I would see that. But again, I would want you to bring any of that back
Okay.
to that. So I'll amend the motion to accept the vendor with at least 75% guaranteed handmade jewelry.
Okay.
right.
And while I have your attention, this
Well,
is
wait a
something
minute,
else.
wait,
Can it, no?
No, we got to
Okay, got to move it along.
do the
All right.
administrative. We have a motion on the floor. I seconded it, and I accept your amended motion. We're in discussion. Talk amongst yourselves. Anybody want to discuss?
Well, I think their product is really good. I think what she does, you know, with the silver pieces that she adds, and I think with the stuff that is in question, if she just adds those embellishments, then I think it would pass our,
Oh,
because it's
Totally.
beautiful work.
yeah,
It's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
We
I
just have to make
like
sure
it
we
too very
meet the
much,
criteria.
yeah.
You had something?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify which are the ones that we are accepting, so that she's also very clear.
Sorry about
The
that.
precious metal clay, anything that's got precious metal clay in
Yeah.
it. Like in that with the glass work, there is pieces of metal that have been wrapped around the leather, but that, you know, it's not going to hit 75%. That's,
But you can add to that.
You can
Sure.
add to that.
sure.
Okay, so,
And if you do add to it, you just need to bring it back
Okay.
to the board.
so I think we're clear on the motion, seconded, we discussed. Anybody else? Okay.
No, I'm full.
You're full? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Thank you so much. This
Yeah.
stuff
She
is
had- I
just
think she had
beautiful.
something else.
Did you have something
The
else?
color or something.
Did we
I
miss
just wanted to
something?
pass
Oh my
this
God.
around because it's a big space and I don't have a very big setup. And this is something that I also do. These are posters.
Oh.
And I'm working on something that's more, the top two exist. The bottom are ones that I'm working on that are more regionally specific, but they tend to be 16 by 20. They tend to be in that sort of mid-century modern style print. And looking through the festival, I was like, hey, this might be a good place to sell my posters. Those are created by me.
that on
They
the
are
application?
printed commercially. I can't do the printing here. I screen print, but I can't screen print here.
Do we have consensus to add it, to allow that to be added to the application? Why don't we just add it?
Okay, is that all right?
And then
That's
we can
awesome, 'cause
discuss it.
then
Do
Yeah.
you frame them or anything, or
I
is it
have
just?
no idea where there's an IKEA around here. Usually I find something for display purposes. I find the 16 by 20 frames that IKEA has to show people, and then I sell them rolled up. When people buy them online, I usually just direct them towards IKEA. Some people, the gentleman with the photography had a beautiful framer. Some people have the money for that,
Yeah,
and
sure.
then some people just want something to throw up in a dorm
Yeah,
room. So
This is beautiful work.
thank you.
Yeah, love it.
Thank you.
Actually, Michael's has good
I was just going to say
frames, and they're
Michael's.
not expensive.
Right, and Target, and so I just, like I said, this is something that I've done in the past, and looking at the street fair, I thought, you know, this might actually be a
Yeah,
good place
be
for that,
Yeah.
because it's easy to roll it up and just
Attractive.
walk away with
Okay,
it.
um,
I'd like to see an actual
Full
ca-
print.
full print canvas, not
Okay.
just off of the copy.
I can do that. I just, the higher the print run, the better the price for me, and so I just wanted to see whether or not it was worth investing in doing a print run
Well,
of 20 or 30
it-
to.
We have a conundrum then, because we shouldn't make her get one print and spend all that money on one print for a run, if she's not going to do a run. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm more than happy to do one if you want to choose one and say, "Just bring us a print 16 by
I just
20.
want to see the quality of a print. I mean.
No, I'm not disagreeing. Yeah, can you do one?
Sure.
For us?
Sure.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we want to make it pending approval of, how do you guys want to do it?
I'll make a motion to accept the posters.
Okay.
Add the posters to the application, accept the posters with the condition that we see at least one example.
Before they're exhibited?
Prior to exhibit.
Okay, do I have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carries. It's unanimous.
Thank you. I think it's
Okay,
great. I
and-
just want to make sure we have.
I want to, find the right
Right.
Right, exactly. So this is a little test for you.
Right. Thank you so much. Oh, boy. Wow.
Yeah,
That's really beautiful stuff.
it really is. Oh, I love it.
Okay, last but not least was the temporary suspension of the seaplane vendor permit.
If we could see that particular item, and then we have the vendor who spoke during public comments, who has some product that he wants
Yes.
the board to see.
Sure.
Who is not on the agenda, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So if we
yeah.
could see his products, we'll make sure he gets on the agenda for an official vote.
Of
We could
course.
give him some guidance, whether it's something that this board would approve or not. But let's go with what's on the agenda first. So,
Okay.
we've got the temporary suspension of seaplane vendor permit.
Right.
This was a vendor who I provided information to you at your last board meeting, that staff had provided a temporary suspension, per your guidance on their permit due to an incident that occurred. We had just received a couple, complaints regarding the situation, and then staff did some further investigation, spoke with our police department about what transpired, and then we also asked the vendor to provide some information about what transpired as well. So he is actually here. I'm going to allow him a
Great.
little bit of time to.
Thank you for coming. Sorry you had to
speak.
wait till last, but.
Yeah. So
worries.
I'm going
Yeah.
to hand it right over to you.
Okay.
And please let the board know, they've already reviewed the information that has been previously
So
provided.
you've read the letter that I wrote, the statement. Have you had a chance to read that?
We have,
Take
give
the-
us a summary.
Yeah, take
Well-
the mic in your hand, please.
Okay. How about if I just
Okay.
speak
That's
with it
fine.
like this,
Okay.
because I've
Perfect.
got the height.
Yeah, okay, great.
I think in the summary of the situation is that I nearly witnessed came within millimeters of witnessing my dog being crushed. It was really just a very emotional moment, and I lost it. I lost the self-control that I usually have. And I apologized to the gentleman who was driving the Lexus. He seemed satisfied at that time with my apology. The police were also satisfied by what appeared to have gone down. Nobody was arrested. I think we're going to keep the dog out of the events in future. She is an emotional support animal to me, and we travel all around the world together for 7 years, and so I'm rather attached to her. And I recognize that one has to exhibit real self-control in public situation, and I'm sorry for my overreaction. And I don't know that I can say it any more concisely.
Thank you for bringing it up. Can you make a note on our parking lot to talk about vendors who bring animals to VillageFest? Because I think that needs to be revisited seriously. I think you have a responsibility to keep the animals safe, which didn't happen. Now, having said that, I wasn't there. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a he said, she said, he said.
Absolutely. His was the first vehicle to enter the fair area right at the closure of the event.
Right.
So I would think it's reasonable to say no one was really prepared for its arrival. And I think the car was, it certainly from my perception seemed to be moving a little bit quickly, given the proximity of so many others.
Right.
And
Well, we're not Judge Judy, so we don't have
Absolutely.
the charts.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I have a question. Was there alcohol involved in this?
Yes.
There was. I have two clients with whom I share a passion for red wine who each brought a bottle to felicitate us on the opening of our store, which was quite a lot of work. These two bottles were consumed among 7 people, so it wasn't a great deal of alcohol. But I do, I think it's how to say it, unavoidable that alcohol would exacerbate, emotions and reduce, the superego that controls behavior. So I don't doubt that the wine had some effect. And I did not, it's not really a defense, but in so many of the fairs that I do, people are drinking in the street as they are at VillageFest. And
We have a policy at VillageFest and no alcohol.
I'm afraid I was ignorant of that policy. I have
Now you
come
know.
to understand
Thank
it.
you. Now you know.
Thank you.
It's a city policy downtown, isn't it?
Actually, it is.
Yeah, it's city.
Public.
No doubt, even if the public's not quite
Right.
doing it.
So where are we on this?
Yeah.
Well, I genuinely would like the board to consider the situation. There were multiple written complaints about what transpired. The vendor seems extremely apologetic, and it was very professional when I approached the situation with him, which I greatly appreciate. He took the suspension. He said, I'll be in attendance at the next board meeting. I'll supply you with whatever you need. So from a staff level, we greatly appreciate that type of response. But I would like to genuinely consider this type of situation as an opportunity to say how this board would like to address these types of situations. It's an unfortunate situation, and I have only had this type of situation happen maybe once or twice before in my many years of VillageFest. But any sort of physical altercation at VillageFest should be addressed.
Oh,
It should not
absolutely.
be
Yeah, I know.
looked over. Board Member King's very right. It's a blatant, it says absolutely no alcohol to be consumed or sold at VillageFest. So that is a very blatant disregard for a rule that this board is empowered to enforce. And then obviously there wasn't a physical altercation, whether it had to do with alcohol or not, is irrelevant. And I would like this board to consider how you would like to address this and make sure that it's something that moving forward does not occur between this vendor, and also set a precedence of how we address these types of situations in the future with any vendor, not just particularly this vendor. So really, it's up to this board. You have the ability to continue the suspension. You have the ability to allow the vendor to participate. I will tell you that he has been suspended for multiple weeks now because you did not hold your last board meeting. So
He missed out on a lot of the Christmas stuff.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So, typically it'd be maybe 2 weeks that they were suspended because you hold your meetings every 2 weeks, but unfortunately you did not hold your last meeting, so he has been suspended for multiple weeks. Again, his response to the situation has been nothing but professional, which I appreciate greatly. So you have the ability to continue the suspension for a period of time. You have the ability to allow him to continue to participate moving forward. We have the ability to suspend his permit indefinitely.
I would make a suggestion that we suspend the license for 90 days and then have the vendor has to come back for a rejury. I think it's serious, so I think we can't say, the last 3-4 weeks, he hasn't had the opportunity. I think it's so serious that we need to do a major suspension, which could be 30, 60, 90 days. But I think we have to make a point there.
I want to hear from everybody on that. Julie, what do you think?
I think I have watched late at night when people drive their cars before the time stops. I've seen them come up and they're very quick and want to get out of here really quick. Anybody could be emotional over a dog. I would have probably.
I would have lost it.
Yeah.
And
With
I
my
did.
dogs, I have
Yeah, I know.
several of them, so I can understand the emotion in that. I think he served his time. He's been respectful to Jasmine, so I'm okay for him to come back.
I feel the same way. I think that you have shown your professionalism, and I think you've served your time personally.
Thank you for coming and being upfront.
And contrite.
I agree. I think that he's made an effort to and recognized what he did wrong. Drinking is bad.
Especially up there.
And the dog, and I think, the animal issue downtown, it can be a major one because we don't want them to get hurt. And I'm for letting him come back, but you're going to be watched if you
And I
come
deserve
back. My feeling.
Well, I feel the same way. As you said, you're very contrite and you realize what happened. And I think there's many factors involved, like the car coming through the first one. You didn't realize the dog had wandered in the path. And maybe something that we could do, because there's an assumption that all vendors read all the rules. Right? And maybe we might think it's common sense that they wouldn't drink. But as you said, it's your first night, so we'll have a little toast. So I don't know how we can impress upon vendors to actually really read all of their requirements and the rules. So they're, in other words, we can't assume that someone's read it and there's an assumption. So it's just a suggestion to impress upon them, please read all of the requirements because we do take this very seriously.
You could do a quiz at orientation.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Anyway, I feel that
the reality
I
is
would accept him back.
You put the dog at risk, that it was wherever it was, it shouldn't have been. And I would hope that in the future you either kennel the dog or don't bring that's up to you. But we're going to work on dogs. But in the meantime, I think, Ron, with all due respect, he lost a lot of revenue over, even now, with all these people going to the movies, and he ain't out there. I would like to think that this offense, he's kind of paid his dues, but we are going to watch you and the others involved. And if we see anybody that's drinking or whatever, you're going to hear about it from us because we can't have that. It would be, if something untoward happens there, whether an animal or a person gets hurt, we're the ones that get all the hell, and the city does, and we represent the city. So understand where we're coming from.
Yes, sir.
So having said all that, I think we could restore his booth.
Okay. As of this Thursday?
Yes, with the understanding that you have to be on your really good behavior. You have to be the poster boy for these other vendors.
No further issues
Does
would
this
be
require,
had from me.
A motion?
It doesn't require, because it was a staff suspension with guidance from the board, because it wasn't actually on your previous agenda. So we discussed it, you gave staff guidance, but there wasn't actually an official motion. So we do not need an official motion to allow his permit to be valid. Staff can do it on a staff level.
Okay, so are we going to see you on the street Thursday?
I hope so.
Okay, we'll be down there.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for coming by, and thank you for your
Thank you.
candor.
Happy
We
New
appreciate
Year.
that, yeah. It'd be nice to have one meeting without any drama. Okay,
Go for the next.
go for the next one. Unfinished business, rule, huh?
Oh, yes, the
What?
gourmet grader. If we could have him review his
Oh,
proposal.
that's right.
What happened? Why didn't we do it? Why isn't he? Oh, that's,
I saw you standing
yeah.
up too. I don't know.
What do you got?
Last but not least.
Yeah.
Yeah, not least. Is this a new product? Yes. Tell us about it.
Get the mic.
Yeah, hold the
first
mic.
before you start talking.
Okay, hi. So I have two new products. There's an 8-inch bowl with a 5-inch grating surface, and I have the little bell-looking thing with the garlic on top. That's to turn the garlic grater into a garlic roaster. So all my ceramics, they're stoneware, so it's oven safe, microwave safe. And, the last year especially, people have been asking, hey, do you have a top for this? And, I didn't know what they were talking about, but I did some research. And this is, you could just simply put it on top. I mean, they could do aluminum foil too, but I just figured, hey, this is a nice thing. I want to sell the tops for $15 with the purchase of a grater. The bigger bowls I want to do for $35, and so they look. I have they're different colors too. They're kind of like seconds because the feet are all messed up, but that's what I have.
I have a question for you. Are you doing the firing yourself?
Everything.
Okay.
Start
How many
to finish.
times are you firing? You firing them like a
Twice.
high heat and a low heat, or lower heat?
Yeah, low heat and then high heat.
And it's lead free and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can go in the dishwasher.
Dishwasher safe.
And
I
that can
like
go in
the
the oven.
size.
That can go in the oven.
Oven proof, microwave safe.
Oh, in the microwave too?
Yes, yes.
Sometimes pottery can't go in the oven because it has iron filings in it or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tried it out. It was one of those things of like I spent a lot of work designing and making it. I'm like, okay, I hope it works. So I tried it out before I even.
So it's the same stuff that you make the little graders.
Same material,
out of, right?
same clay.
Same material, same kind of clay.
Same everything, yes.
Oh, so he already has the kiln.
New
You make the
members.
tops too?
I make everything, yes.
For our new members, this vendor has been with us for several years. He's come in with new items. He had a young lady that was his designer and mold maker and everything, and we've gone back and forth several times, and I think his integrity now is really good, that stuff that I believe that he's making and it's selling. And
you'll see it.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Thank you.
And that fits over the small grader, because
It
I've got
does,
that
yes.
one.
Yeah, everybody's. It fits over everybody's grader.
Ooh, you got a big
And
kiln.
if you haven't seen him do a demonstration on garlic,
No, I haven't.
you.
I'd like to.
you'll buy one.
I know. I think of his knuckles when he does it. Anybody have any questions? Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
That's okay. We don't actually
We don't
need a
have-
motion.
We don't need a motion.
If there's any feedback that you have for him, if we feel okay, what staff will do is we'll make sure that it's number one on your next agenda, and then we'll just take the motion then.
Okay.
Okay,
good.
so we're good to go. Put my microphone back.
Looks like your
Sweet.
mom's in the audience too.
Yeah, don't
Hi, Mom.
Or take it with you as far as
Awesome.
I'm concerned.
And
Okay,
thank you,
so,
board, for indulging that.
I wait till. Awesome.
Okay. Thanks a lot. It's good to see you. Happy New Year to you.
Yes.
Okay, rules and regulations.
I have absolutely no update, and I did not ask for one.
Don't
Vicki
need
has
it.
been out on vacation, so she hasn't attended a staff meeting with
Look
David
forward
Reddy,
to
but
seeing
she
you on
did
the
say she
street.
was going to bring it up, which probably will be Thursday when she'll meet with him.
I wanted to tell
Okay,
him
thanks.
his new grader, but he's gone.
New business, reports and requests. Are there any public reports? No public reports, no public. Board reports. Okay, board comments? I'm going to go around any.
It upset me with that first gentleman today because I've seen nothing but grace and politeness with Faith and Jasmine in the street.
Yeah.
And that kind of bothered me that it always has to go to the level of harassment or something used in the political forum these days. But I see these girls work really hard. They're out there on every event. They're running all over. They have families. So I see them as nothing as friendly and polite to almost everyone that
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
agree.
Yes.
That was
We
totally.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
it can be difficult, and
Yeah.
and unfortunately sometimes that happens. It was definitely a vendor who probably felt picked on
Yeah.
because we did have to watch his booth very closely.
Yeah, we had complaints
And the
about
last
it.
straw
Sure.
was when we got a complaint from a board member that said, there is obviously some product in this booth that we did not approve, so
Yeah.
please have them. So
It's that simple.
And since he was leaving, he thought he'd take his best
Yeah.
shot.
I'd take his best shot as far as it
Absolutely.
goes.
And Faith,
But thank you.
Faith
Appreciate it.
didn't move. She was just listening.
No,
She
she's
smiled
a
a little
professional.
bit.
Yeah.
Ron, did
Yeah,
you have any?
she smiled. Yeah,
any
she
comment-
smiled.
Any board comments?
First of all, I just want to, Happy New Year. I hope
Happy
this
New
year is
Year.
better than last year. If you had a good year last year, this is going to be better. If you didn't have a good year last year, it's going to be even better this year. One of the things that I did do while we were on break was watch our videos. And I think every member should watch the videos.
Oh,
Because you're going to be quite surprised if you haven't.
I never have, yeah.
They have a new camera angle from up here. So
Yes.
we're getting to see a better angle.
Make sure you're talking into the.
A better angle. And that's the other thing is that sometimes Jasmine is talking and it goes blank, and you don't know what she's talking about, and then all of a sudden she comes back, and it was sort of interesting.
Yes,
and hopefully that
during Face last time when she was taking the minute, she's like, I can't hear people.
Can't
They
hear
turn their
people.
head. I can't hear anything.
anything.
So, yes.
hopefully but you'll be surprised. There, people were using their cell phones, and people were still asking questions while the presentation was going on. I have to watch it when I eat food because it gets very sloppy.
I think we all
but I
do
think
that.
it's good. And one of the things that I really would like to bring back under maybe unfinished business next time would be the no smoking, revisit the no smoking signs. Tina, I really was impressed listening to you talk again about having several different kinds of statements going on, just besides thank you for not smoking. Because it really made sense. And sometimes I think when we're here at the board meetings, we make decisions fairly quickly, which is good. But at the same time, when we revisit things, it's like, oh, maybe we should go back and look at it. But I really thought some of the points that you had for revisiting smoking. So I think if we added one or two of the things, maybe have to revise them, it would be a good idea because it really made sense to have some friendly, fun things about no smoking.
Well, we have a no smoking committee. Would you like to be on it?
No, I
You're not
don't
gonna
need
do
it.
that
I think if Tina could just come up with some new ones or tweak some of the other ones, and we could put it on next.
Well, she had already provided with the list
Right,
that
right.
I gave you all was the list that Tina had
Right.
provided. So maybe we'll just revisit it. I do have the other signs already in order, but we could absolutely have more. It's not a problem at all.
Okay. Good.
So if we want to
Okay.
add some different language to some signs, we can do that. So we'll just bring the
'Cause
signs.
I really thought, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't listening. I was tuned out or something. So it was good.
Yeah, because we got to get those signs out there, because the last time I was out there and sitting at a table, there were two gentlemen smoking at a food table.
At a food table.
So, I mean, it went up into the air, but we decided on nothing at the food tables.
Right, and we can't do anything until there's signs.
No, so,
Yeah, so we do have some ordered, but we can absolutely bring back the language from the previous board meeting that the board reviewed and see if there's one or two other signs that you would like to have printed, and we can do that.
Okay.
May I say something?
Yeah.
Thank you. After the presentation of saying, yes, we know that we cannot set a law, but we would like to set an environment that's suggesting that we appreciate that you don't smoke while curb to curb at the VillageFest. But then I presented this, and we had at least 100 entries for suggested signs, because I presented it to all the pulmonary patients, the support group, the people in the American Lung Association, the exercise group, which is a good 30 people there. So many people put in their ideas because it was important to them. So that's why
Sure.
I appreciate you, Ron, that then we fine-tuned it down to, let's say, 10 or 8 out of all those great suggestions that people really put some time into. So I think we could even switch them out, because I know everybody knows that bulletin board, once you've seen it a couple times, you never read it again.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so if we
have a couple different ones in rotation.
that we rotate, and I think it would be also this community that pitched in that cares about not smoking at the VillageFest, and they created these creative little signs or sayings that could be used.
Right, and if it's important to them, it's important to us. It should be.
Sure.
It should
Thank
be.
you for listening.
And just one last thing is that we all have to really kind of watch how we say things, when we say things, and what we're saying, because sometimes it can come across being very argumentative or contradictory, or we're here really to be an
Ron,
advisory board.
I'm sorry. Can you turn your mic on?
I'm sorry.
Nothing you said is going to be heard.
No, go ahead. Start over.
Oh.
Start over.
Okay. Just that we have to be very careful on how and what we say at our meetings, especially towards the vendors. We don't want to accuse them of not telling the truth or lying or creating a bad vibe between the vendors and the board, because it's a reflection on everyone and how we act. So I just want to make sure that everyone take an opportunity to look at the videos and see how we present ourselves.
Okay, thanks. I also brought up
Yes.
a similar issue
before
right
you
before you
came.
walked in. So
Yeah.
I'll bring you up to date if you like. Okay, thank you. Did you have any comments?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
No, I think we had a good meeting.
I think we got a lot done.
Informative and
Start the new year.
This is probably one of the toughest meetings in my
Yeah.
7 years to be
Yeah.
on board.
It was.
Yeah.
And
Really
two
tough.
public comments.
Yeah.
We never
Yeah.
took public comments.
Yeah.
Anything?
I want to say that the gentleman that had the garlic products, I wasn't exactly sure of his statement. What was the statement he was trying to say? That he simply trying to say that he was glad that we required the people that are actually going to be in the booth to come before us, or was he saying that there were some that were not following that? I wasn't exactly sure of his statement.
It's an area we need to. Go ahead. Gigi.
It's that there's another garlic grater that is sending a representative out to sell at VillageFest. When we held him to a very, very high standard, which he's very right, we did require a lot of him in order to participate with VillageFest. And I think he's feeling a little jaded that we are not requiring the same standard of another vendor who's selling an almost identical product.
And why aren't we?
Well, we do. We need to ask
Yeah.
that the actual product, the person who makes the product, be present. Because our rules allow for a representative to be present, but I think it's maybe a maximum of 3 weeks, and that vendor has had a representative
For a
for
long
more
time.
than 3
It has
weeks.
to give you notice, too.
Correct.
Has to give
Yeah.
the staff notice.
Correct.
Okay.
So staff will follow up on that.
Okay.
All right. And I think all of us need to be vigilant, and when we walk the street fair, and take some copious notes, because I'm hearing that there may be some things there, and I know there are things there that maybe shouldn't be there, or things that are vendors that need to be
Right,
rejuried.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that in a more comprehensive way.
Yeah,
It's
we
one of our
used-
constant goals when we
Yes.
walk that street.
We used to have a compliance subcommittee that would go, and we rotated it like every quarter. Two of us would go down, or three, depending on how many were on the board, and we would walk the street and take notes. And
Didn't we have sets of 2 people
Yes,
together?
yeah.
And we
I think we need to do
spread
that
out.
again.
I think we did that one
Okay.
2 years ago.
Yeah, we need
let's
to
put
do
that
that.
under new business. for-
Under new business for next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Compliance committee.
Reports and requests public, there are none. Board, we've just done that. Main Street is not here. Staff reports.
I just want to touch bases on 2 things. I wanted to see if this board would possibly consider maybe doing somewhat of maybe a mini retreat to go over our goals that we had set, where we're at, what we need to do. In maybe late February, that would kind of give us about a 3 months out period from the last time and maybe we could just make it a little shorter, maybe 2 to 3 hours. I can see if Ellen's available to come and help kind of guide us to keep moving forward with what we've set so far. And in that same topic, Faith and I have kind of gone over the timeline that we would like this board to consider for the poster. Somehow we've kind of run in that the posters are kind of coming back to back. And I think there's a better time frame to ensure that we get the maximum exposure for an entire year of a poster. And we would like to have that conversation with the board about how to create that poster in a timeline that works very well for the distribution of it for almost an entire year. So I think that if we can set that maybe just mini retreat where we can get together for a couple hours, that would be a good time to set that timeline with you
Sure.
all to see if we can make that work.
And I think it's
next month.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think
maybe
late
next month.
February would be a good
Yeah.
time to do that.
And it's really important that everyone really comes
Yeah, I
because
think so.
we discuss so many important things at those retreats.
So do you want to, for us to come up with some dates that are good for everybody
I
at
would
our
love
next
for that to
meeting?
happen. What if I send an email out and then have people reply? Remember, just reply back to
yeah.
myself.
Right.
Okay.
What date works? I'll send a couple dates. So I'll check with Ellen and see if she's willing to come in and help give us a little bit more guidance. I've got all the paperwork from our last meeting, so we'll
Yeah.
utilize that as a starting
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
Great, she was terrific.
Right.
Yeah. I
She
enjoyed
was. That was the
Yeah.
most informative
I know.
retreat.
Yeah, she's quite,
Ever.
You know,
Ellen is
it
quite
was-
comprehensive. She's amazing.
Great
So
job.
I'll work on getting that out.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it from us.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? If not, I'm going to suggest that we adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, I'm going to we're on seconds. And all in favor?
Aye.
We adjourn at 5:24.
Wonderful.